In May 2001, Kurt Angle would begin a feud with Shane McMahon after Shane interrupts him during his Olympic medal ceremony. And over the next couple of weeks, Shane would begin to antagonize Kurt by costing him his matches. The feud would culminate at the King of the Ring pay-per-view in a street fight match that would end up being one of the most brutal, bone-breaking matches of the Attitude Era. But before I could tell you that story, I have to tell you this story. On the May 21st, 2001 episode of Raw, Kurt Angle would host his own Olympic medal commemoration ceremony. Kurt starts off with a narcissistic speech of how everyone should aspire to be like him and how spectacular of a champion he was by defeating the odds and winning back his Olympic gold medals in a 2 out of 3 falls match the night before. The ceremony starts, and as confetti rains down in the arena, Kurt stands at the top of his podium recreating his Olympic moment. Then we hear,
"Here comes the money."
Here we go.
Shane McMahon comes out and Kurt stares at him, looking confused and angry at the same time. Shane comes in the ring and says that WCW is about to start, then explains what the letters in WCW stands for. Meanwhile, Kurt's confusion and angriness is increasing by the second. Shane gets to the last W and says it could stand for wussy, which angers Kurt, so he runs up to Shane and gives him an angle slam from the top of the podium. Later that night, Vince would apologize to Kurt on behalf of the McMahon family and award him an Intercontinental Championship match against Kane later that night. So even later that night, during the match, Shane would interrupt the match and cost Kurt his chance at the Intercontinental Championship. On the May 31st, 2001 episode of SmackDown, Shane, along with Spike Dudley, would cost Kurt another match. Spike Dudley interfered because of the turmoil that was building between the two over the past couple of weeks. Right after the match, Kurt Angle would storm over to the WWF Commissioner William Regal's office and demand a match against Shane at King of the Ring. Then on the June 4th, 2001 episode of Raw, Kurt Angle would go to Regal's office and ask if Shane accepted his challenge. Also, he wanted confirmation that he was in the King of the Ring tournament and wanted to face Spike Dudley so he can get his get back for Spike interfering in his match on SmackDown. Then Regal says, "I can confirm that Shane has accepted Dai's challenge. Also, regarding your involvement in the King of the Ring tournament, I have allowed it. And for tonight, to ease your desire to retaliate against Spike Dudley, I will place both of you in a 6-man tag with Spike teaming with the Dudleys and you teaming with the Hollies." Kurt and the Hollies would go on to win the tag match. The next week on Raw, Shane would run into Kane, who was helping The Undertaker find who was stalking his wife. Shane would tell Kane that it was Kurt Angle who was stalking his wife. Then Kane tells The Undertaker, and then Undertaker confronts Kurt Angle, who was in the ring. Kurt looks confused and uncomfortable and tells Undertaker he doesn't know what he's talking about and doesn't want his wife anyway because she's ugly. Undertaker gets pissed and gives Kurt a last ride. After a few minutes, Kurt begins to recollect himself but is soon sneak attacked by Shane McMahon, who ends up giving him an angle slam. Later that week on SmackDown, Kurt Angle would declare their match at King of the Ring a street fight match. Now, regarding the King of the Ring tournament, by the June 21st, 2001 episode of SmackDown, Kurt Angle already made it to the semifinals, meaning that at the King of the Ring pay-per-view, Kurt would potentially have to fight 3 times in one night. So, can Kurt Angle overcome the odds and become a 2-time King of the Ring winner and win his street fight, or will this be too much for the Olympic hero to handle? At King of the Ring, Kurt Angle's first match will be against Christian. So during the match, Shane would come out and stand at ringside, and at one point in the match, Christian would have the match won, but during the pin, Shane would pull him out of the ring, giving Kurt time to recover and hit Christian with the angle slam to get the win and advance to the finals. Shane did this, so by the time their match comes, Kurt would be too tired and broken down to do anything. Shane, however, would cost Kurt his match in the finals against Edge. After going through the wear and tear of 2 matches, Kurt finally faces Shane in the street fight match. Before the bell can ring, Angle runs out at Shane and spears him down to the mat. Angle quickly picks Shane up and performs multiple takedowns and suplexes. For a few moments, Angle is in control of the match until Shane counters a knee to the stomach and performs his own combination of takedowns. Shane then mocks Kurt Angle's wrestling background by doing wrestling maneuvers, and this pisses Kurt off. Kurt gets into the starting position and challenges Shane since he thinks he can outclass and disrespect an Olympic gold medalist. Shane approaches slowly, tries and fails, and Angle quickly regains control. After suplexing and using his amateur wrestling maneuvers on Shane, he challenges Shane once again by getting back into the starting position. This time, Shane wisely kicks Angle in the stomach and starts throwing a flurry of punches. Shane gets Angle up and hits Angle with a clothesline before sending him out of the ring. With Shane standing in the ring and Angle outside, Kurt shows his frustration and Shane sees this. So as Angle runs into the ring, Shane rushes out the ring and causes a chase. Angle chases Shane around the ring until Shane jumps on the barricade, then jumps off, hitting an incoming Angle with an elbow. Shane then goes on the barricade behind the announcer's table, and Angle follows him. Shane jumps off the barricade over Heyman and JR's heads to land face first into Kurt Angle. Shane soon goes under the ring and pulls out a kendo stick. He whacks Kurt with it multiple times before clotheslining him over the barricade. Shane decides to rest for a bit, but Kurt pops out from behind and grabs Shane. But Shane quickly grabs Kurt's head and pulls him over. He then slams Angle against the barricade and bashes his head on the steel step multiple times. As Angle, who is down, struggles to get to his feet, Shane backs up, and as Angle is upright, runs toward him and rams him into the steel steps. Shane throws Angle into the ring and goes for the pin, but Angle kicks out at 2 by a neck bridge. Shane tries 2 more times and Angle kicks out again by neck bridges. Realizing Angle's not done yet, Shane leaves the ring and gets an assortment of items. Shane, with a street sign in hand, bashes it against Kurt Angle multiple times. He goes for the pin, but Angle not only kicks out, but reverses. Angle has a small comeback moment before he is countered and placed in the ankle lock. Kurt gets out, but Shane still has control. Shane has Kurt in the sharpshooter. Angle's in pain, but he quickly realizes that there's a kendo stick beside him and he uses it to escape. With Shane and Kurt down in the ring, the ref begins to count. Shane uses the ropes to get back to his feet, but Kurt, who is on his knees, has a kendo stick in hand. Angle swings at Shane, but Shane jumps and ducks, then fires at Kurt with punches. Shane goes for another pin, but Angle kicks out again. Shane picks up the trash can and slams it against Kurt before he realizes he can cause more damage if he attacks from the top turnbuckle. With Angle on the ground and the trash can on his stomach, Shane from the top turnbuckle goes for a shooting star press, but Angle gets out the way just in time, causing Shane to crash and burn. Kurt crawls over for a pin, but Shane kicks out. Then Kurt tosses Shane outside the ring and they fight on the entrance walkway. Angle attempts a suplex, but Shane blocks and reverses it and hits a suplex on Angle. It was at this point that Kurt broke his tailbone. Kurt and Shane get up and go back and forth with punches before Kurt slams Shane into the entrance stage, with Shane on the ground and Kurt standing. Pulls Shane over to the glass and attempts to throw him through it, but this happens. Kurt hits Shane with a belly-to-belly suplex against the glass, but it doesn't break. As Shane back bounces off the glass, he falls headfirst onto the floor. You can hear Shane's head crash against the concrete floor. Kurt Angle hears the exact thing we hear and looks to see if Shane's alive. Meanwhile, Vince is in the back, pissed and wants to end the match. Now, anybody else would probably skip the spot and continue the match, but this is Shane McMahon we're talking about, and he tells Kurt to do it again. Kurt does it again. This time, the glass breaks. The camera pans over to Shane and you see blood trickling down his forehead. Kurt has blood running from his shoulder. Inside the glass, Kurt tries another suplex, but it fails again. Kurt tries again and the glass still doesn't break, so he ends up throwing him through the glass regularly. Shane's face is drenched in blood. Kurt tries to go for the pin, but he can't. He has to pin him inside the ring. So Kurt uses quick thinking and places Shane on a production cart and pushes him to the ring. Kurt rolls Shane into the ring and goes for the pin, but Shane kicks out at 2. Kurt Angle falls over and starts to cry. I can't blame him. Kurt gets up, gets a trash can lid, and attempts to hit Shane, but Shane quickly hits him with a low blow. Shane takes the lid and nails Kurt with it and follows up with an Angle slam. Shane goes for the pin, but Angle kicks out at 2. Kurt gets up and catapults Shane onto the turnbuckle. Kurt then gets a board of wood and places it between the top 2 ropes. With Shane still at the top turnbuckle, Kurt climbs on the board and gives Shane an Angle slam. Kurt drags his beaten, bloody body to pin Shane. 1, 2, 3. Kurt wins the match. Kurt and Shane are both helped to the back after one of the most brutal, bloody battles in WWF history. After this match, Shane and Kurt would get involved in the Invasion storyline, where WCW and ECW would form an alliance to try and take control of the WWF. The storyline would conclude in a winner-takes-all match at Survivor Series between the alliance and the WWF. But that is a story for another time.